It's getting a bit depressing, though, I must say. You know, the watching these games with no fans, and you know, it's extremely depressing to do that. But let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of what your weekend was, or what you thought it was. Those categories. Let's start with Shakes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let me do that real quick. I think the good first is Leeds, without a shadow of a doubt. I think Leeds, for them to stop Aston Villa on their winning run, and Patrick Bamford scoring the goals that he's scoring as well. I think Leeds are doing what I said. I think Leeds are doing what I said they should be doing in terms of just get as many points as you can, man. You know, because they are eventually going to get tired, but they're on a good slope. That's for sure. The bad I would have to say for me is Manchester City. Just the performance.
Remind me never to let you go first again.
Sorry about that, Kevin.
It's okay.
The bad for me is I know they drew against West Ham United, but I think it's Man City purely because Aguero went off with an injury and they just don't look the same. They just couldn't penetrate the same. And even Pep in his post-match interviews, despite the result against Leeds and West Ham, he still goes on and says, "Great, we played well." And I'm like, you didn't play well. You lied. You know? So he just looks tired. And the ugly, I'd have to, honestly, personally, for me, I would have to say the Manchester United and Chelsea game. That was one of the most boring games for the start of the season for me. Very ugly. I was expecting much better than that, and shame on both of them for just sitting back all game.
Yeah.
Double shame.
No, it's just both of them just sort of playing to not lose, you know?
Yes.
Oh, what's your good, bad, and ugly?
Look, I've got a feeling it'll be very similar to you guys, but I want to keep my good short. Patrick Bamford's left foot. Unbelievable. Moving on to the bad, I think Tottenham, for me, it frustrates me because, you know, I came to the soccer world about two years ago, and my dad's a Liverpool supporter and started supporting Liverpool through him. But two of my best mates, David and Jack, are big Spurs supporters, and they've always said it's a great club to support. They play nice football. There's a cool culture there. And I've been watching them this year and really, really enjoying them despite the results and enjoying the players that are playing. But I just think, like, you can't be putting a 1-0 to Burnley.
Why? It was away.
No, I don't. I just think you've got two of the form strikers in the Premier League.
I'd just say that you're a typical Generation Z that have unrealistic expectations.
And that unrealistic expectation was 3-0. I think Tottenham should have at least, look, they've got the win, but I think if they want to contend for like a top four, if they want to show that they're worth, you know, that front three that they've got at least, they need to be putting teams away. And then we've seen that they can be putting teams away, but then they lose a lead, you know. And it's a few results. Like, they should have put Newcastle away by five goals. They ended up drawing 1-1. You know, I think they had like a ridiculous number of shot attempts in the first half. So it just frustrates me to watch that. But the ugly for me has to be Manchester City, because you said Pep looks tired, but it's not like he ever looked refreshed this season. It's not like his team has either. You know, they just haven't got going. And you just think, like, a squad that's cost that much, you know, players of that caliber, like, why these mediocre sort of in and out results, no form guide to really follow. That sort of club deserves more in terms of results.
I agree. Definitely.
Well, you know, I think it was Daniel Day-Lewis that starred in the movie My Left Foot. I think they should do a remake as My Good with Patrick Bamford, who scored 3 cracking goals. And as a Leeds fan, how can I not say that was a good? I should have never let you guys go first. You both stolen my thunder, but hey, you know, you guys are millennials and Zoomers, and you don't really have much original. So that was a good for me. The bad was Man City, without a doubt. You know, they do look jaded. They don't, you know, Aguero's injury, they just don't look like the team that they have been for years. And their mystique and you know, teams aren't afraid to play them like they used to be. So to me, that is the bad. The ugly is the empty stadiums and the stupidity that's going along with having nobody in a stadium. They're happy to have people sit in a pub indoors where you have super spreader events, rather than allow 30% of the people to come into a stadium, space themselves out and create some sort of atmosphere and get on with some sort of sense of life. What in the hell is going wrong with this human race? It's beyond comprehension. Let's put them all in a pub, let them be right in each other's face, screaming and spitting beer over each other. But no, you can't go to a stadium and watch a football game.
Yeah, it's one contradiction after the next when it comes to the sort of regulations, you know?
And it's just fear-mongering, and it's, I get it. We're living in difficult times, but this vaccine that's going to come and all, it's all bullshit. I mean, I'm just getting fed up with empty stadiums and the way that people are being controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this constant threat that it's like, we're going to go back into, we can't do this yet because then this is going to happen. And it's just like, come on, you need to start. Yeah, I think, Kev, like you said, the contradiction between allowing people to essentially go watch, Leeds Aston Villa in a bar with 500 capacity, but you can't let 30,000 people into a 100,000 man stadium, something like that,
even 15,000. It's like it's insane.
Something that's not the coach.
The crazy thing is that it started already in other countries already. I think Bundesliga, there was a game where there was 11,000 in a stadium of 60,000. And some countries have done it. The Super Cup had it as well, the European Super Cup as well. I think they did say something about lockdown might be happening again in Manchester and the regulations and stuff there. But it is kind of confusing. I agree with both of you guys that you're allowed to have this many people at a bar together watching the game, but we're not allowed people into the stadium, which is crazy. And I think, if anything, this has taught us is that now we get the difference between empty stadiums and when fans are there. It's chalk and cheese here, we're talking.
It's like the blind leading the blind. I mean, because you know the culture in the UK, there's pubs every 30 meters. So it's not just one pub that 500 people are going to, and we might exaggerate the 500, but it's 50 pubs where 100 people are crammed in watching football. And, if you're going to have a lockdown, have a sensible lockdown. Close the pubs.
I mean, you could say the same even for rugby in South Africa. If you look at the sort of culture in Cape Town and Joburg of, nightlife and people going out and there being bars and clubs, but rugby is still being played with empty stadiums. And
it's the irresponsible media as well, because if we ever allow the stadiums to have a bit of capacity again, the first time that there's a COVID case at the stadium, it's going to be plastered all across the Sunday Times or Rapport or one of those newspapers that sensationalize everything. So the media needs to step up and take some responsibility for what they've created in this situation.
Look, I do feel though that there needs to come a point when we learn to live with this thing. I don't think it's going away. It's going away anytime soon, and we need to learn to live with it so that if there is a case, we shouldn't just all spread like wildfire and just leave or cause a haywire through media and newspapers and all that stuff. But we need to learn how to live with it for sure.
Well, we've learned to live with influenza, which I think came out in the 30s and still kills thousands of people each year. And we don't wear influenza masks. We haven't stigmatized that. So I'm not saying that I don't know. I'm not a medical expert, but we haven't had an effective vaccine that stops flu, ever, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So how are we going to get a vaccine to fix COVID? At some stage, people have got to wake up and say this is all bullshit, or it's.
Let's just get some proper sports viewing back. I mean, to understand if the whole, we go in circles here, but if the whole country, everything was in lockdown in every country, and it's like sport is now out of the question too. But it's like when you've got events happening, when you've got like people coming back into offices that have huge workforces and stuff, and a stadium you can regulate to a certain extent because there's a checkpoint for entry, you've got the account, you've got the ticket holder's details. It should be one of the easiest ways to regulate, as opposed to people that are just flowing in and out of a club. So exactly. It is ridiculous, and it's changing the nature of sport for the worse. it's unfortunate to watch.
No, one of the things that sports was a release on the weekend, you know? Hasn't been that for some time. And it would be different if there was lockdowns and you say you couldn't go to pubs and you couldn't do this. But to say you can go to pubs but you can't go to a game is beyond idiotic.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Anyway, that's my rant for today. I'm at the rally. Sorry, I've just... Anyway, guys, another
We
week.
always love it, friends.
Another week of sports. So just to recap, Ollie, you wore the crown for about a day, I think, eh?
Best day of my life. That was after, also, to be fair, that was after a losing weekend as well. I think you guys had just lost more than me. I think I'd still lost money that weekend, but it somehow ended up with the crown. But
Yeah, I think I was beaten like a redheaded stepchild. It was pretty ugly, huh? Pretty ugly. Anyway, we live and learn, and next week we'll have taken on the information that we had. There's some rugby next week. There's the Premier League again. The sports doesn't, and the PSL.
even that story took a bit unpredictable, Shakes. I'm checking some of the results, and it's not as straightforward as you and I, and all of us seem to think like about a week ago. So interesting.
I think it's that whole short preseason thing. It's like everything is just abnormal, and it's taking place everywhere. So I just love the fact that the odds are high when it comes to local football.
Yeah, that's true. It's nice.
Well, let's not to forget to wear our masks when we're out. I got a great one.
It is great. I'm in the comfort of my home, luckily. So,
Ollie, wishing you that you get better.
I got a better one.
That's nice.
thank you, Kevin.
Oh, baby.
Nice, yo. When are we getting one of those? I've got the puffer jacket, but I'll just zip it up to here in minutes.
Anyway, guys, thanks very much for your input today, and best of luck for the week ahead. And I'll see you on Thursday when we predict the Premier League again.
Thanks,
Always
guys.
a pleasure, guys.
See you, lads.